How to emotionally detach from someone. Emotional detachment is not the absence of care. It is the presence of reason. The Stoics were often accused of being cold, but they were not. They loved deeply, they served their communities, they carried the weight of empires. Marcus Aurelius wrote letters to his friends that showed tenderness. Epictetus spoke of loyalty and kindness. Seneca wrote about gratitude for those who had helped him. Yet they trained themselves to hold love without being enslaved by it. This is the key difference. When you are attached, your peace depends on another person. When you are detached, your peace depends on your own judgment. The Stoics called this distinction between what is yours and what is not. Epictetus began his teachings with this idea. Some things are under our control, and some things are not. The actions of another person are not under your control. Their feelings are not under your control. Their decision to stay or leave is not under your control. Their opinions of you are not under your control. What is under your control is your own will, your own choices, your own response, your own character. When you understand this, you stop giving away your power. You stop handing your peace to someone who does not have to carry it. To detach emotionally, you must first see attachment for what it is. Attachment is the belief that you need someone else to be okay. It is the belief that your happiness is tied to their presence, their approval, their behavior, their return. The Stoics said that this belief is false. Your happiness is tied to virtue. Your happiness is tied to acting in accordance with reason. No person can give you that, and no person can take it from you. If you make your happiness dependent on another, you have made yourself a prisoner. If you make your happiness dependent on virtue, you have made yourself free. This does not mean you stop caring. Marcus Aurelius loved his family. He loved his city. He loved his duty. He wrote about his gratitude for his teachers, for his wife, for his adopted father. But he did not confuse love with ownership. He did not confuse affection with control. He wrote in Meditations that he was grateful for the time he had with people, but he was ready to let them go when nature took them. He understood that all relationships are temporary. They are on loan. When you see them as loans, you do not cling. You appreciate. You give. You act with kindness. But you do not build your life on the condition that they never leave. You do not build your life on a foundation that can be removed at any time. The first step in emotional detachment is to observe your own mind. Notice when you feel anxiety about someone. Notice when you replay conversations in your head. Notice when you adjust your behavior to keep their approval. Notice when you feel empty when they are not around. This is the moment of awareness. The Stoics called it Prosoche, attention to the present. Without awareness, you cannot change. With awareness, you can choose differently. You cannot control what you do not see. But once you see it, you have a choice. Once you see the attachment, you must examine your expectations. What are you expecting from this person? Are you expecting them to complete you? Are you expecting them to validate you? Are you expecting them to be consistent when they have shown inconsistency? Are you expecting them to read your mind and act the way you want? The Stoics said that expectations are the root of suffering. If you expect nothing, you are not disappointed. If you give without expectation, you are free. This is not cynicism. It is realism. People are flawed. You are flawed. The only person you can train is yourself. The only person you can make reliable is yourself. Detachment also requires you to return to your own life. The Stoics lived with purpose. They had philosophy, duty, work, study, community. They did not fill their lives with the presence of one person. If your entire world is built around someone else, then of course you will feel lost when they are gone. Build a life that is worth living even if no one else is in it. This is not selfish. It is necessary. You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot love well if you are empty. You cannot be a good friend, partner, or parent if you have abandoned yourself. As you practice detachment, you will feel discomfort. That discomfort is part of the process. The Stoics did not avoid discomfort. They used it as training. When you feel the urge to text, to call, to check, to explain, to seek reassurance, you are being tested. You do not need to act on every urge. You can sit with it. You can let it pass. You can remind yourself that your peace is not in their hands. You can remind yourself that the urge is temporary, but the regret of acting on it can last longer. If you are finding this helpful, consider subscribing to Unshaken Mind. We share daily Stoic training to help you build a mind that is free from dependence on others. The more you train, the more steady you become. The Stoics did not become wise in one day. They practiced every day. You can join that practice. The Stoics also practiced remembering that people are not possessions. They are agents with their own will. You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot force someone to stay. You cannot force someone to change. You can only act with virtue in your own role. If you are a friend, be a good friend. If you are a partner, be a good partner. If you are a parent, be a good parent. But do not confuse your role with control over the outcome. The outcome belongs to nature, to time, to the other person. When you accept this, you stop suffering from things you cannot change. This is how you create emotional space. You give love without demanding it back. You give effort without expecting a return. You give presence without needing to be chosen. You give respect without needing it returned. This is what the Stoics called acting in accordance with nature. It is giving what is yours to give, and releasing what is not yours to hold. It is acting with dignity and then letting go of the result. Detachment is not an event. It is a practice. You will need to return to it daily. You will need to remind yourself that you are not responsible for their choices. You are only responsible for your own. You will need to remind yourself that you have survived before without this person, and you will survive again. You will need to remind yourself that your life is your own. The Stoics wrote about loss often. Seneca wrote letters to his friend Lucilius after the death of loved ones. He did not tell him to stop grieving. He told him to grieve with reason. He told him to remember the good, to be grateful for the time, to accept what cannot be changed. This is emotional detachment. It is not denial. It is acceptance of reality. When you practice this, you will find that your relationships change. Some will become healthier because you are no longer desperate. Some will become more honest because you are no longer performing. Some will fade because they were built on dependency. both outcomes are good. The Stoics said that what is good for you will remain. What is not good for you will leave. You do not need to force it. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to explain yourself to keep it. The Stoics also taught that the mind becomes attached to images. You are not attached to the person. You are attached to the idea of the person. You are attached to the memory, the hope, the version of them you wish they were. This is why detachment is difficult. You are letting go of a story. You are letting go of a future you imagined. The Stoics said that you must examine your impressions. Is this person as you imagine them? Is this relationship as you wish it was? If the facts do not match the story, then the story must change. To do this, you must practice truth. The Stoics were committed to seeing reality as it is. They did not create illusions to make themselves feel better. They did not tell themselves that someone would change if there was no evidence. They did not tell themselves that they would be okay only if the other person returned. They looked at the facts. They looked at the behavior. They looked at the pattern. And then they acted accordingly. This is why detachment is not cold. It is honest. It is seeing a person clearly without illusion. It is seeing yourself clearly without illusion. It is seeing that you are worthy of peace regardless of what they do. It is seeing that your life is valuable even if they do not see it. The Stoics also practiced gratitude for what was given. Even if the relationship ends, even if the person leaves, you can be grateful for the time you had. You can be grateful for what you learned. You can be grateful for the parts of yourself that were revealed. Gratitude does not mean you must keep the person in your life. It means you do not waste the experience by turning it into bitterness. As you practice this, you will begin to notice a shift. You will notice that your attention returns to you. You will notice that your days are not built around waiting. You will notice that your mood is not controlled by a message or a silence. You will notice that your sleep is yours again. This is the reward of detachment. Not that you stop caring, but that you stop being controlled. The Stoics called this freedom. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is not being ruled by desire, fear, or expectation. Freedom is acting from reason. Freedom is being able to choose your response. Freedom is being able to love without being enslaved by love. If you are in the middle of this process, know that it takes time. The Stoics did not expect quick results. They expected practice. They expected repetition. They expected return after failure. You can expect the same. Each time you choose reason over impulse, you strengthen your mind. Each time you choose your peace over their approval, you strengthen your life. If you want to continue learning this practice, subscribe to Unshaken Mind. We release new Stoic lessons every week to help you build emotional strength and clarity. The Stoics did not practice once and stop. They practiced every day. You can do the same. The second part of emotional detachment is learning to live without needing to be chosen. The Stoics believed that self-worth comes from virtue, not from status, not from relationships, not from approval. If your worth is internal, then it does not rise and fall with another person. If your worth is external, then you will always be afraid of losing it. This fear will shape your choices. It will make you tolerate what you should not tolerate. It will make you explain what you should not explain. It will make you stay where you should leave. To build this internal worth, you must return to practice. The Stoics trained daily. They trained their attention, their desires, their judgments. They asked, "What is good?" They asked, "What is right?" They asked, "What is mine to do?" You can do the same. When you focus on your own development, you stop obsessing over someone else's. When you focus on your own character, you stop monitoring theirs. When you focus on your own virtue, you stop depending on theirs. There will be moments when you feel pulled back. You will remember the good times. You will imagine the life you thought you would have. You will feel the pull of familiarity. This is normal. The Stoics did not deny memory. They did not deny emotion. They did not say you must not feel. They said you must not be ruled by feeling. You can feel sadness and still act with reason. You can feel longing and still choose peace. You can feel grief and still do your duty. The Stoics did not expect you to be emotionless. They expected you to be governed by reason. One of the most useful Stoic tools for detachment is negative visualization. This is imagining life without the person. Not to create pain, but to create gratitude and freedom. If you imagine them gone, you realize that you are still here. You realize that your life is still yours. You realize that you have the capacity to continue. This practice removes the illusion that you cannot live without them. It removes the idea that your world will end if they leave. The Stoics used this to prepare for loss, but also to prepare for life. When you imagine the absence, you start to appreciate the present. You start to appreciate your own strength. Another Stoic tool is the view from above. Marcus Aurelius often imagined himself looking down on the earth from a great height. From that height, relationships, arguments, desires, all look small. This perspective does not make you cold. It makes you clear. It reminds you that your life is a small part of a larger whole. The person you are attached to is also a small part. Neither of you are the center of the universe. From this height, you see that time will pass. You see that emotions will change. You see that your life is larger than one relationship. Detachment also means setting boundaries. The Stoics were not passive. They were clear about what they would and would not accept. If someone treats you with disrespect, you do not need to explain yourself endlessly. You do not need to justify your distance. You can step back. You can act with dignity. You can choose peace over drama. Boundaries are not walls. They are lines that protect your virtue. They are lines that protect your time and your attention. The Stoics believed that your time is a resource. You do not give it to people who will waste it. As you move through this process, you will notice that your energy returns. Energy that was spent worrying, hoping, waiting, explaining, will come back to you. The Stoics said that time is the one thing you cannot get back. When you stop giving your time to someone who does not reciprocate, you get your life back. You get your attention back. You get your future back. You get your mornings back. You get your peace back. This is the practical result of detachment. This is why the Stoics valued independence. Not independence from other people in a social sense, but independence of mind. They wanted to be free from passions that ruled them. They wanted to be free from fear, from anxiety, from neediness. They wanted to be free to act with reason. You can want the same. Independence of mind does not mean you never need anyone. It means you do not need anyone to be okay. It means you can be with people without being owned by them. If you are struggling, remember that you are not alone. The Stoics struggled too. Marcus Aurelius had a difficult wife. Epictetus was a slave. Seneca was exiled. They all faced relationships that caused pain. They did not escape pain by avoiding people. They faced pain by strengthening their mind. They faced pain by returning to philosophy. They faced pain by writing, by reflecting, by practicing. You can do the same. You can use your pain as training. When you detach emotionally, you do not become isolated. You become available. You become available for relationships that are healthy, reciprocal, and free. You become available for yourself. You become available for your work, your purpose, your growth. You become available for the people who meet you with respect. The Stoics believed that you should choose your companions with care. Not because you are better than anyone, but because you know that your character is influenced by those around you. The Stoics believed that love and duty are part of life. They did not teach detachment to avoid love. They taught detachment to love without fear. When you are not afraid of losing someone, you can love them fully. When you are afraid, you love them conditionally. You love them to keep them. That is not love. That is control. That is attachment. When you release the need to control, you free both yourself and the other person. You will also find that detachment helps you see people clearly. When you are not attached, you are not blinded by hope. You are not interpreting every action as a sign. You are not making excuses for behavior that does not align with your values. You see what is. And when you see what is, you can act accordingly. The Stoics valued clarity more than comfort. They knew that comfort built on illusion will collapse. If you want to continue learning this practice, subscribe to Unshaken Mind. We release new Stoic lessons every week to help you build emotional strength and clarity. The Stoics did not practice once and stop. They practiced every day. You can do the same. Each day is a chance to return to reason. Each day is a chance to return to your own life. Detachment is also an act of respect. It is respecting the other person's autonomy. It is respecting your own autonomy. It is respecting the reality that you cannot control another human being. When you respect this, you stop trying to manage their emotions. You stop trying to earn their love. You stop trying to be enough for them. You start being enough for yourself. The Stoics also used journaling to strengthen detachment. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself in Meditations. He reminded himself that he was not in control of others. He reminded himself that he had a duty to act with virtue. You can do the same. Write down what is under your control today. Write down what is not. Write down what you will do with your attention. This practice makes the abstract idea of detachment concrete. As you practice, you will notice that your self-talk changes. You will stop saying, "I need them." You will start saying, "I prefer them, but I do not need them." You will stop saying, "I cannot live without them." you will start saying, "I can live without them, and I will." This shift in language reflects a shift in your mind. The Stoics knew that words shape thought. Thought shapes action. Action shapes character. The Stoics also practiced accepting impermanence. Everything changes. People change. Circumstances change. Your own life changes. When you accept impermanence, you stop fighting it. You stop clinging to what is already leaving. You stop building your identity on what is temporary. You build your identity on what is permanent. Virtue is permanent. Reason is permanent. Character is permanent. When you practice detachment, you will be tested. You will receive a message. You will see a post. You will hear their name. You will feel the old pull. This is the test. The Stoics did not expect to pass every test. They expected to return to practice after they failed. You can do the same. Do not judge yourself for feeling the pull. Judge yourself by what you do with it. If you feel weak, return to your principles. Ask, what would a Stoic do here? A Stoic would act with dignity. A Stoic would not chase. A Stoic would not explain. A Stoic would protect their peace. A Stoic would remember that they are responsible for their own will. You can be that Stoic. The Stoics believed that philosophy is not for show. It is for life. It is for the moment when you are alone at night. It is for the moment when you want to call. It is for the moment when you want to explain. It is for the moment when you want to go back. In those moments, you have a choice. You can choose reason. You can choose peace. You can choose yourself. Emotional detachment is not about closing your heart. It is about opening your reason. It is about understanding what is yours and what is not. It is about choosing peace over possession, virtue over validation, freedom over fear. If this video helped you, like it so others can find it. Comment below with the Stoic principle that you will practice this week. Subscribe to Unshaken Mind and continue your training. We are here to help you build a mind that is steady, independent, and free. The Stoics did not teach detachment to make you cold. They taught it to make you whole. Keep practicing. Keep returning. Your peace is yours to keep.